Welcome to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlandson and I ask my guests one simple question. Why? Focusing on the importance of why, I share with you the relatable, uplifting and inspiring conversations I have with people from all walks of life. This podcast will encourage you to focus on your why to enable and empower you to achieve the success you desire. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Welcome, Chris Leek, to the Focus on Why podcast.
Thank you very much.
Well, Chris, I was trying to decide which title to use for you, and I'm not quite sure. I don't want to give any spoilers away for why you're here today. So I'm going to go with beer salesman, the dream job everybody wants. And I'll let you explain what that means.
So I'm 33 years of age. I'm Chris Leek. I live in London with my wife and my dog, and I work for Budweiser Brewing Group as a UK export manager, selling beer all across the world.
Fantastic, absolutely. And what does that actually involve, that job?
So I lead a team, and we've set out our new strategy to ensure that we sell beer in a sustainable and profitable way all around the world. And yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been with Budweiser for now 12 years and enjoy every moment of it.
It's a dream job straight out of uni then?
Dream job straight out of uni, following in my dad's footsteps, who actually worked for the competitor many, many years ago.
Oh, controversial.
I didn't want to be seen as the boss's son.
That's true. Absolutely. So you're currently in this role and you're doing that, but we're not going to be talking about beer. What are we going to be talking about today?
We're going to be talking today about the power of the mind and my world record achievement last year when I became the 5th person to complete the Arch to Arc, the hardest triathlon in the world. And broke the world record in doing so.
And was that your first big event?
It was my third. It was my third big event, but some may say that I've done some big events. You know, a training run for this event was a 100-mile, 24-hour race, and I've done several other ultra marathons, but I class this as my top 3 achievements over the last 7 years for sure.
So why does this average guy who lives in London with his wife and dog want to go on these incredible types of experiences or challenges?
It's a great question, actually, because I enjoy going for a 5K run, a 10K run. However, you know, unfortunately, my father was diagnosed with Parkinson's 17 years ago. And although I enjoy watching the London Marathon and sponsoring people to achieve their dreams, I wanted to set myself a challenge that not many people would even dream of or believe they could achieve. And I found the Arch to Arc to be that kind of challenge that would make people go, wow. And, you know, in the process, with support with a few donations, I wanted to raise £1 million for 3 charities that are really close to my heart. Whilst breaking the record in doing so. I don't like to do things by halves. And, you know, with the support of my family, you know, they gave me the green light because there is a lot of pressure, a lot of training that has to take place. And obviously, as mentioned, a lot of caring for the support of my dad at the same time. So, yeah, I wanted to kind of test my mind, my body to the fullest to see if I could achieve something this great.
And why was it important for you to do that?
I think from the age of 16, I have really struggled that, you know, seeing my father, who, you know, has always been a role model for me, kind of unfortunately attracted this disease. And, you know, although he does struggle both physically and mentally, because he also suffers from Lewy body dementia, which he was diagnosed with 5 years ago. I really wanted to kind of support families that are in a similar position to us, because this wasn't my mum and dad's retirement plan. And I can feel my throat already choking up. But, you know, wanted to kind of try and leave a legacy for those charities and try and really make a difference for not only my dad, but for people that also suffer with similar diseases, and really make a difference. I'm an able-bodied individual. I feel that I've had a very lucky and fortunate upbringing, and I just feel like it's time for me to give back to the local community.
And why not do a marathon? Why do something so big like this?
I'm slightly weird. I'm slightly. I have slightly an obsessive kind of personality, and I think once I really get my teeth into something, however big or however small, it's I find a way. I set myself a plan. I set myself a goal, and I've become slightly obsessed. And I'll do anything I possibly can to achieve that. I was told that I needed to train for 3 years for this event. I was told that I wouldn't be able to train for this in 8 months. I'd put too much pressure on my heart, my body. But I genuinely thought that it wasn't about the amount of training that I needed to do. It was more about, could I channel and teach my mind to go through different emotions at different times for 3 days. This was an individual event, but there was no way I could have achieved this without my team. So I do say we, because they got me from Marble Arch in London to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris in under 70 hours, making sure that I was safe at all times, that I was fully hydrated, I had a good nutrition, and that I wasn't pushing the barriers too far, that there was no way back. So they were there for my health and safety, and they'd done an incredible job because they kept me moving.
And explain the actual journey, what it is you had to do.
So the Arch to Arc, it's a triathlon. I started at Marble Arch in London. I started with an 87-mile run down to Dover in Kent. I then put my Speedos on and swam across the English Channel.
So no wetsuit.
No wetsuit. So challenging the temperature of the water, the shipping lanes, and the jellyfish. There's a few stories about them. And then I jumped on the bike at Calais once I'd nipped through passport control, and cycled 181 miles to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris.
And of all the 3 parts, what did you find the hardest?
I really struggled on the swim. I'd swum the English Channel before in 2016, so I knew what it took to swim the 21 miles. Obviously, there's a current, so it's 21 miles as the crow flies, but it can be up to 26, 27 miles depending on your speed and also the current during that time period. But I didn't realise, although I'd done enough training, that the emotions, the temperature of the water, I started swimming at 12:30 at night, so it was pitch black. I was scared, swimming at night with a light on the sea doesn't exactly fill you with confidence, not knowing what's around you or under you. I kind of had to zone out, but I was in so much pain, from the 87-mile run. So I'd given myself 10 hours from when I'd finished the run to when I was going to start the swim. During that 10 hours, I rehydrated. I had a roast dinner. I had a massage, and I just had to get my mind into the mentality that I was now going to swim the English Channel. But the first 3 minutes of that swim, I will never forget. I begged and pleaded the team to call the event off. I was in so much pain. My hip flexors, although I thought they had froze, they were just in pain. And the team knew that I had to get through this first 2 hours, get into my stride, and get through this. And then, I'd be on the kind of next journey. I'll never forget my best friend, Robert, was on the boat, and I threw my goggles at him, and I said, "It's done. We're done." I was 4.5 hours in, and I said, "There's nothing left in the tank." I had very colourful language. As mentioned, I'd thrown my goggles at him. And the team actually turned their back on me. They turned their back on me to allow me to have a little paddy to myself, get all that anger out. But what I didn't realise until the end of the swim, what they were doing was getting the fire back in my belly, getting the anger out, getting that new lease of energy. It was probably my 15th wind instead of my second. And it worked. They threw the goggles back at me. They told me to get on with it. And Rob said, in 30 minutes, we can watch the sunrise together. And it still gets me now, because that was the turning point of the challenge.
So you mentioned your team. Who was your team? Who made up that team for you, and how did you choose them?
So my eldest sister Emma was the team leader. She had done several events with me in the past, including the Ironman, and also had been there for my Centurion run, which is 100 miles in 24 hours. So she kind of knew. She knows me inside out. She knows what I'm like, and she's obviously knows my reason why very, very well. Also, my wife was pivotal throughout, the training. She was the one that saw the ups and the downs, the injuries, the mood swings. My wife's a brilliant cook and was the head of my nutrition. So Charlotte managed my snacks, my drinks throughout the event. And then I had a couple of best friends involved, because they've known me. I'm very fortunate to have a very close unit of friends. We've been friends since we've been 11. They've also been, a part of my training and came out running and cycling with me. None of them could swim, so they tended to keep away from the water. But I got a team around me that knew me inside out. And finally, I had my inspiration with me, which is a lady called Rachel Hill. Rachel was the first woman to ever complete this challenge. So when times were tough, Rachel could talk to me and knew what I was going through, where the other team members, they could say positive things, but they never really truly knew what I was going through. So my team was made up of experts in their own way, and that was the kind of focus, to make sure that I had a team that was very diverse, that had a kind of a diverse way of thinking, and that brought different talents to the full team. And for me, I truly believe that was the main reason we achieved this.
And had you spoken to them before you set out on this and said, look, if I give up, please don't let me? Or what had you talked about beforehand?
So I'd clearly set out the goal. I'd clearly set out what we were going to achieve, and I wanted to break the world record by 10 hours. I've been taught in life that if you share your dream, it energizes people around you, and kind of people, the team knew that they had to focus on the time, they had to focus on my health and well-being, and we were all energized by that dream of breaking the world record. They also knew they had to share the content, the media, get people involved to raise sponsorship money, because I wanted to raise £1 million. So that was another kind of key dream of ours. So by discussing this as a team months before the actual event, everyone knew what they had to do. And when times did get tough in training, or we weren't getting the media coverage that we had hoped, then we kind of reset. We kind of said, right, don't forget what we're trying to set out. And it always re-energized people to always bring their best. And for me, as a leader of a team as well, in my personal life, professional life, I truly believe that's key. Make sure you've got your goal, your ambitious goal set out, and make sure everyone knows, how we're going to get there. And it truly does energize you and motivate you to get there.
So your team got you across the channel?
They did, and there was many ups and downs. Once we got through that first 4 hours, I mentioned about the sunset, and we watched that for 30 minutes. And when I say we watch it, I didn't stop swimming. But when you look into someone's eyes, it's very emotional sometimes, because you kind of know what people are thinking without talking. And with the team on the boat, they could see the pain that I was going through in the swim, and I could see the love and the care that was coming from them. But we watched that sunset. Oh God, God, what have you done to me? We watched that sunset together, and it was, it's one of those things that, blokes don't really talk about their emotions that much. That I won't forget. I certainly won't forget that. Excuse me.
That's incredible. So you just land anywhere on the coastline in France?
I was very, very fortunate. Throughout my training, I'd always visualized landing on a sandy beach. And in 2016, when I successfully swam the channel, I actually landed on rocks. And it was so painful because I had to pull myself out of the sea onto these rocks. I scratched my whole body, because you have to exit the water fully for the siren to go, for it to be successful. And I was successful in 2016. However, during the A2A, I got the dream of landing on a sandy beach and having that James Bond moment where I was able to put my feet down for the first time in just over 15 and a half hours and walk up. And I'm very fortunate that a passerby recorded the moment. And I walk up the beach, and my wife's there, looking absolutely stunning, and I'm looking absolutely terrible. And I just fell into her arms and just burst into tears and just fell to my knees. It was very Hollywood, but it was it was just raw emotion that that visualization that I had used through training to get me through those tough swims had actually become a reality. However, in essence, I'd actually only achieved 2/3 of the target. So I had my moment, I had my cry, and I gave my wife a kiss, because my wife wasn't on the boat. She had to transport everything from the UK to France, my bike and the car, and then I had to get back into the sea, because obviously I hadn't, I just landed in France. I just swam to France, so I had to get back in the sea. I had to swim back to the boat, and had to the boat driver had to take us up to Calais so I could to go through passport control. But very magical moment that it's still a struggle to watch now again, because it just gives me so much energy knowing what we went through. So during these challenging times of COVID, it's kind of I can put that video on, and I can kind of say to myself, we've been through tougher times than this. Get yourself together, make sure you rally people around you, because I feel that I can go that extra mile to kind of support the people that really need support. And it's a lovely video. I'll definitely share it with you.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
At a later time.
Thank you. So tell me, you then got on the bike?
I did. So I went through passport control, and I was craving a McDonald's. I just needed greasy food. So
was that approved by Charlotte though?
It was approved by Charlotte. I got my 5 chicken selects, and I think I got a cheeseburger as well. And we sat by the car. We rejoiced for a couple of minutes on what we had actually achieved. But going back to that planning stage before the event, I kind of didn't want to kind of rejoice and think, what I'd just achieved. We had to kind of get back to what the dream was, which was then to complete 181 miles and break this world record. In my heart, and I can say it now, I knew that if I didn't get knocked off the bike, I was going to break that record. However, punches, tiredness, other road users, you just never know that there were still so many kind of external factors that could have affected this. So we had to kind of refocus. We had to remain disciplined, remain consistent as the three key principles that we promised. And once I'd had my food, we found an area that I could have a quick shower just to kind of, wake up. And we got on the bike and started cycling to Paris. It was around 9:30 at night, so I knew the darkness was going to fall soon, and I wanted to kind of get a really good start because, again, didn't know how I was going to feel in a few hours' time.
So is there a deadline that you have to complete this in time frame wise?
So you get in the 11-day window to complete all three disciplines. However, the stopwatch, as soon as you leave Marble Arch, the stopwatch doesn't stop. So the 10-hour break I mentioned after the run, the couple of hours after I'd swum the channel, the clock was always moving. So you need to eat, you need to sleep. In total, I had 1 hour 30 minutes sleep throughout the whole period. The key for me was just to keep moving forward. And, eventually we would get there. And when I was feeling tired, I love coffee. And so, that was my treat to have a coffee. And obviously I tried to keep my heart rate below 140, so I wasn't burning too many calories. But again, I'm not a professional athlete. I didn't have any professional training. It was only what I had read and asked for advice from kind of fellow normal people. And I mentioned Rachel had obviously gone through this before, and Rachel was there from start to finish. So it was good to kind of lean on her where I needed to.
So not only did you have 90 minutes sleep, but that meant the whole team only had 90 minutes sleep too.
Yeah, not far off. So they couldn't really nod off in the car. So during the run and during the cycle, I had a support vehicle that carried all my food and spare clothing. But because the adjudicator had to always see me and would constantly get in and out of the car, the team couldn't really fall asleep in the support vehicle. I had so much support on the run, that there was someone there cheering me on every 20 minutes because I live in Kent, family's all from Kent, and so are my friends, and they had literally planned to be at certain milestones throughout the event. So I ran 87 miles with a smile on my face. It was, again, incredible support that kind of got me through this. And the same with the cycle. My dad's two best friends, who, again, he's known from school, came out to see me and were in Boulogne, which is around 40 miles from Calais. It was around 2.5 hours. And, they were there. It was midnight, and, they knew how much it meant to me. And, they drove all the way to Boulogne just to give me that cheer for a couple of minutes. So,
and what did it mean to you to have this support?
I can kind of, saying thank you and giving them a cuddle. I'll never be able to really. Oh God, here I go again. I'll never really be able to kind of truly thank them enough. Oh God, one sec. Oh God, here we go. Here we go again. I'll never truly be able to thank them enough. They know I'm, slightly crazy, and everyone thought I was absolutely mad to attempt to challenge like this. Training in between work and general life living. I just yeah, just no words can describe how much I thank my team for getting me there, but that same thanks goes to all the support, friends, family, colleagues that came along the trip. Oof, there we go. Big deep breath.
So do you feel that you've now created a legacy that you're proud of, that you were hoping for?
I'm
Or is there more?
I set out to achieve three steps. I wanted to complete an Ironman, swim the Channel, and then the A2A was the third. Is there more left in the tank? 100%. I find staying healthy, staying active really helps with my my mental framework. I've not got mental issues, but I do struggle, and I find that when I come back from a run, when I come back from the gym, I feel really good, and it helps me believe that I can help other people, by staying active, feeling fit, feeling good in my body, that it enables me to kind of be a better me for the people around me, and I'm talking about, my mum, the full-time carer, my two sisters, my wife who has to put up with me, and we've kept it quiet, but, my wife's due in 15 weeks, and people have known that, we've had to go through IVF, and, we're not kind of ashamed of that, but again, it's another challenge. And by staying fit, by staying healthy, I feel that I can be a better person. So do I think this is the end of my achievements? No, I do think there'd be another thing. I always set ambitious goals, and always want to push myself as far as I can. But I think I also need to be sensible, and I'm looking forward to becoming a father for the first time, and supporting my family with my father. So when, I'm not too sure, but I do think that, I think once you get the bug for something like this, it never really leaves you, and that self-fulfillment, that feeling of achieving something, however big or however small, it's a feeling that it is very personal. I helped an individual recently run their first 5K, and I got as much enjoyment from that, believe it or not, than this event in itself. And it sounds silly, but I kind of looked at that individual, and I looked into their eyes, and I thought, you're going through the same pain within 30 minutes that I went through this challenge, but it's still the same pain, mentally, you hit that mental block, and once you break through that, it's an amazing feeling. You get that second wind, you get that second movement. I'd love to continue to train people to be able to achieve that feeling. It's something that words can't really describe, if I'm honest.
And how does someone who has had no proper training, no sort of proper trainers, get to become a world champion?
I'm always learning, so I'd like to think that I'm a bit of a sponge. So the Dover Channel training team, there's a lady down there called Emma France who runs this. I kind of just listened to what she said, and listening to the people around her and learning from that. Not everything worked for me, but the concept of it is right, and then you kind of need to kind of structure it in a way that fits with you, be that your lifestyle or your kind of habits. So kind of always learning from others. I never think my way is the right way. Every day is a learning day. Even running, like my running style, I kind of making sure that when I watch other people and trial new things, I'm never afraid to kind of admit that I was wrong, maybe pushing my body too far. something that someone taught me once was you need to understand if your body is trying to give you an excuse or if you need to listen to your body. And this is really important, especially like during marathon training, because you can kind of overtrain. And I'd certainly overtrained in the past. I've had shoulder operations. I've broken bones because I've pushed myself too far, or jumping off certain things you shouldn't. And sometimes, just listening to your body is very important. But you need to distinguish what's an excuse. Don't do that because you're tired, or you probably need to stop now because you've had a very good day and you need to now rest. So always listening and always learning is key.
And I can't believe the story. It's just incredible. It's given me goosebumps listening to you. It's been very emotional hearing your journey. I've had to hold back the tears myself, just sort of listening here. I can't imagine what it must have felt like to have gone through all of that. But why, or what got you through that? Why did you do it?
My dad was the life and soul of any room that he was in, when he was physically and mentally able. He was an individual that would pull people up when they thought they were out for the count. He would help people believe in themselves to keep moving forward, to kind of move mountains. He was that kind of person that would break down those kind of walls of limitations that people set up. And I genuinely feel that kind of he's taught me those kind of life values, and I kind of wanted to put them in action. And then I kind of wanted to once I had kind of proven it that it can be done, I want to kind of share that message with others, to just pass on that kind of, when you're down, get back up and keep moving forward. He's he's an individual that just the pain and the suffering that he has to deal with every day, he kind of brushes it off and tries to keep moving forward and tries to deal with this as best he can. So huge inspiration for me. And yes, I wanted to kind of support those three charities that I mentioned: Parkinson's, Lewy body dementia, and then the Orpington Saxon Centre. I wanted to kind of give them the funding to build a cure for these diseases, and then for the Orpington Saxon Centre, it's a local care centre, respite centre that supports the community. And without these, there's thousands of charities, but without these three charities, I just felt that I could really make a difference for them all.
It's incredible. And the respite centres that people go to, you can see how much it means to the people who go there, and also for the people who are working there, how rewarding it must be to see the value they add.
I think also for the full-time carers. So it gives my mother 5.5 hours of respite herself. So enables her to kind of maybe go and get her hair done, have a bit of me time, which is very important. It might even just be having a cup of tea and a nap, but very important. And yes, it's I'd like to think we won't need to be there ourselves, but if we ever do need to use these respites when we're older, then that we make sure that we put them in the best way possible. And this is what I want to do for the Orpington Saxon Centre.
Fantastic. Chris, I can't tell you how amazing it's been having you on today. I know that when people listen to this, they're going to be reaching out, just desperate to sort of congratulate you and say, well done. And on behalf of them right now, I'm going to say well done, because that was an incredible feat. You must be so proud of what you did.
I have to admit, I didn't expect myself to get so emotional, but I think it's quite nice to stand still and just kind of look back and look at what we achieved. And I'm super proud of the team. I'm proud of myself, and yes, it's been a pleasure talking to you. So thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, pleasure. And if I could just ask you to leave one more message for the audience, what would that be?
I'd probably say that exercise is one of the biggest enablers for a healthy mind. It's proven to moderate depression, reduce anxiety, breaks down stress cycles, and sharpens your mental ability. So, overall, it's a powerful energizer, and I certainly do. I use exercise as often as I can. So I just urge you all to get active, be that a daily walk or a marathon. Set yourself a goal and get out there and go and achieve it.
Thank you for listening to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlandson, and if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a 5-star iTunes review. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook, and become a member of the inspiring, uplifting and positive Focus on Why Facebook group. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.